Hello, dear viewer. Time for a little story. Holy crap, the AI went hard on my body image. Ouch. Anyhow, 2025, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Money troubles, a hole in my roof, and lastly, a diabetes diagnosis. Fun times, huh? But the real villain was procrastination. The little gremlin on my shoulder saying, "Do it later, Asa. Baladro is calling. Doom scroll with me." Meanwhile, the Whenever the Hell results video gathering dust like my exercise equipment. Okay, that's a little harsh. True, but harsh. Anyhow, I'm gonna hug my demons now. I've kicked myself out of my own slump, so what say we get started finally on these results videos, huh? Let's begin. So first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in my contest, as well as apologize for the time I took in getting these results out to you. Now, I'm sure you're all eagerly awaiting, well, this video, so here it is, Whenever the Hell 2025, the results, from 16th all the way to 1st. The scoring system is simple. We had our 5 judges rank all the entries from 1st to 16th. The top 5 would get 5 points for 1st place, 4 points for 2nd place, 3 points for 3rd place, 2 points for 4th place, 1 point for their 5th place. Conversely, the bottom 5 would get -5 to -1 from their last to 5th from last places. Which means there are entries possible that could make it so that one guy's top 5 but someone else's bottom 5 would have plus and minus points simultaneously. An event that actually occurred. So without further ado, here's our final ranking. And in 16th place we have... Reflection of Perfection. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this entry garnered a whopping -20 points, coming from 3 last places, namely from me, Morshu, and Blinky, and also a -4 from the Stonehill and a merciful just -1 from Mama Bunny. Blinky says, "Reflection of Perfection, I like your content, your Rob rants are great, but I don't know what the heck I just watched. It seemed like you had fun while making this video, which is nice to see, but it didn't really translate to me as an audience member. It was confusing and nonsensical, but not in a way I found funny or interesting. Also, we asked for a fake ad, not a regular ad. Best of luck next time." Yeah, Mama Bunny says, "What the fuck? I don't really understand. Is this some kind of reference I'm missing?" As for myself, I say... Dude, I came off more confused than entertained by your video. Randomness for random's sake sometimes works, don't get me wrong, but this one just didn't hit the mark. Sadly, because it was a contest with fewer entries this time around, it kind of made your video stand out as one of the 2 easiest entries to vote for in the bottom spots. The other one being... In 15th place, we have Wildo's Wild Ride, rivaling Reflection of Perfection for that last spot, but not quite, garnering only 2 last places, namely from Mama Bunny and the Stonehill, who both gave a -5, and 2 -4s from Blinky and myself, totaling a score of -18. You know, also going for pure nonsensical randomness, but slightly more organized randomness than Reflection of Perfection. I'm sure there's an audience out there for your brand of chaos, but I just personally don't get it. For me, randomness has to be spontaneous for it to get a laugh. I struggle to figure out what the jokes actually were, although that is increasingly becoming a generational thing, I realize. I don't get Skibbity Toilet, for example, although this was much too rehearsed and scripted to even be on that level. Blinky says... Quite frankly, I found this review to be pretty incomprehensible, and maybe that was the point, to imitate an incomprehensible alcoholic. But I still can't say I really enjoyed it, although I don't mind videos with shitty microphones to an extent. The audience at least needs to be able to understand what you're saying, especially when your dialogue is already hard to follow. I see potential in this style, but you should really try to workshop it a little more. Mama Bunny simply said, "Nope, don't like it. Nothing else to say. Last place." so let's move on. In 14th place, with a total of minus 11, we have Jarrett91, who claimed minus 2 points from Morshu and minus 3 respectively from myself, Mama Bunny, and Blinky. Total of minus 11.
Though you can't traverse a haunted mansion without dealing with the more unruly creatures that inhabit it.
Sure, they're the generic enemy types you would expect to find at any haunted location. They get the job done and visually refined, nothing too offensive about them. A neat thing that I like is when you first encounter them, a small introductory cutscene plays. However, after that, you're ready for a whole heaping of tedium and repetition that is the follow, especially later half of the and you can see. Meanwhile, it's also one we have to tigers, and any that pop up in mind. But our guys starting to make brief playthroughs, they're about to use like an for most as well. The players starting the water during certain after say half an hour. It's a combination of the one of these streams they
Mama Bunny, brief as always, simply said, "No comments come to mind. Not sure how I feel about this one." Blinky said, "I think you did a really good job explaining why you're passionate about the game, but as the personal story of how you discovered it and your experience playing it, what I was less positive on was watching the humor, which, despite not being cringy or annoying, wasn't really landing for me. I certainly enjoyed the review, but I would say keep improving your craft because I think you'll be able to do even better next time." As for myself, from here on out, actually, the entries were tough to rank. In my viewpoint, it all came down to the fact that when all is said and done, this is a very normal review when compared to the top 5 and everyone in between. Your entry got to be a little, rambly midway too. It wasn't terrible. There's just simply entries that I found more entertaining and more interesting than this one. Not gonna lie, this isn't a game I would ever consider playing myself, so that certainly didn't help the matter either. Keep at it though, you're on a good track despite what your score would suggest. 13th place went to DRR, minus 1 point from me, Blinky, and Stonehill, minus 3 from Morshu, and a whopping minus 4 from Mama Bunny, who, angered by your entry, simply wrote, "Your code, you lose." She didn't really like what you did here.
Take as much as you need until you feel nothing but pure ecstasy joy. And if you use the QR code or Dead Rabbit at the checkout, you'll receive a free subscription to Rabbit Hole's education guide.
A lesson in playing to your audience. When she asked you for a healthy bunny, she really, really meant it. Interesting game, but like the previous guy, this one was a little rambly also for me, so the tiebreaker was that unlike the Haunted House game, I would definitely play Not for Broadcast. You and Jarrett should team up sometime. Here's Blinky's feedback. This was a fascinating review that got me really intrigued in another game that I didn't even know existed. I like how you gave a basic overview of all the different aspects of its gameplay and the visual novel parts to the editing choices to how it all affects the story. The implementation of the ad was very well done too. I will say though, if that QR code led to a picture of Hypnotoad or Luigi, this would have definitely been a top 5 choice based on that alone. Missed chance there, bro? And 12th place went to Jorge A. Minus 2 from Stonehill and myself, minus 4 from Morshu for a total of minus 8.
When you think of nostalgic video games, there are many choices. One that's been a childhood favorite for me was Contra. This game defines challenge.
Mama Bunny's comment is, "Oh, fun! Contra!" But kinda boring review, to be honest. And honestly, I would have to agree a little on that, hence my own minus 2. Your voice does not match the action on screen. Come on, man, it's Contra! Put some excitement in that voice. Love what you did with the special rules, though. I just think all you really needed was some more energy is all. Blinky states, This was a solid overview that really sold me on a game that I'm surprised I've never heard of before. You covered it very thoroughly and why it was so good while offering up some legitimate criticism, which I thought was done very well. I take it English isn't your first language, but your pronunciation was good and you spoke clearly. Although I would suggest including a little more enthusiasm in your voice. There it is. But overall, great video. Keep at it, Jorge. And in 11th place, we have King Nobody with an inexplicably low score of... Get it? Because he reviewed a Rob Lowe show. Ha! I kill me. Yeah, an inexplicably low score of -3 given to you by The Stonehill, the only guy who put you in his bottom spots. Mama Bunny says, what a shitty game show. Thanks for helping me to avoid it. Cute ad, love seeing Dusty. Blinky says, David, I've always enjoyed your videos and this was another gem. I'd never heard of The Floor, but I was quite intrigued given by how you made it out to be. Good job to you and Dusty. I hope Rob Lowe enjoys your video, whichever Rob Lowe that happens to be. Yep, it's JKTIM.
He's back! In pod form.
I concur with the Bunny Mom. We shall both pledge to avoid crappy game shows hosted by Rob Lowe. Amazing that this game show didn't land Rob Lowe in the unemployment line right behind the other Rob Lowe, am I right? Look, I put you in 8th, Bunny put you in 6th, Blinky put you in 7th, and Morshoe put you in 10th. Take it up with Stonehill. He's the outlier. Tenth place lands on DZD, who got only one -1 vote from Morshoe. You are the last person to end up in the negatives, DZD. You can ask Morshoe why he docked you a point. Mama Bunny says, I want to draw comics too. I loved your fun tutorial. Are those your comics? Love it! Blinky says, for something that is less than 4 minutes, this was a solid instructional video. You really demonstrate that you know what you're talking about when it comes to studying comic artwork and seeing what works. Also, even with the arrow pointing at it, the Luigi was extremely well and cleverly hidden, which I commend you for. I agree. Solid, informational, and interesting video. It doesn't overstay its welcome, it's nicely timed. Not much else to say, you did a damn good job, DZD. The only reason it's not higher up is because of the generally high quality of contestants this year, you ask me. 2 entries out of the 16 received no votes, up or down. Scheibler Funk in 9th place and Metley Crew in 8th place. Now, how can I score one above the other when both of them have 0 points? Easy. Overall, as you can see, Metley Crew got better ranking among the 5 judges. 3 out of 5 judges put Metley above Scheibler Funk, and the rest have them separated by a very thin margin. Both of you were in the okay zone. I really have no notes for either of you and wish to thank you both for participating. I enjoyed both your entries, but I enjoyed the top 5 more. That's all there was to it. Bunny says of Scheibler Funk, interesting subject. I definitely want to see a Kingdom Hearts AU where Goofy and Donald are Goofenkrantz and Donald Stern. I'd love that. Of Metley Crew, she says, good review. I personally don't connect with Devil May Cry, but I do understand your points about adaptations, modern. Funny and informative. As for Blinky, he says, I have to admit I was a little thrown off because despite the video's title, I really felt like this wasn't focused on Netflix's Devil May Cry very much. That being said, I did enjoy this as a general discussion on adaptations and what makes them work and not work. Your voice is very professional and you showed a lot of great potential as a content creator. Plus the OnlyFlans advertisement was hilarious. And of Scheibler Funk, he says, I am pretty fond of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, so I was pleasantly surprised to see an analysis of it on the docket for WTH 2025. I think this did a good job at explaining how the play/movie works, and in a condensed format, I can tell you, you do have a background in theater, like you said in the video, and you know what you're talking about. Yep, pretty much nothing left to say here. 7th place is The Curious Tale of Ewan Kidhog, who has also graciously made the intro art for each contestant. Here's the one he made for himself. So he has Stonehill's first place, a whopping 5 points, which is also accompanied by Bunny and Blinky's -2 votes each, netting him a total of 1 point. Yeah, just barely managed to make the positive side as a result. Bunny simply wrote, yawn. I believe what happened here was your entry was the only one to come after my deadline extension, and by then she was just worn out of the contest altogether. Blinky writes, this was a nice, chill review that covered the game thoroughly for the allotted time constraints. Building a Rabbit and Luigi in creative mode was impressive and would work regardless of whether or not people were familiar with the contest itself. Your voice and editing were professional too, so keep it up. As for myself, your review was pretty much standard fare. It was informative, it did its job. You took the time to build assets for your review within the game itself. That was pretty cool. Didn't set the world on fire, but it was a worthy addition to the contest, and Stonehill really, really loved your review. Like, a lot. In 6th place, receiving 1 point each from Morshu, Blinky, and myself, as all three of us voted for him in our 5th place slot, and 4 points from Bunny's 2nd place slot, is the ever-eternal Some Shy Guy. Sadly, you barely missed the top 5 by only 2 points. But before I chime in, here's from the mouths of the judges themselves this time.
Congratulations on going out of your way to make an entire game in RPG Maker for the purposes of this contest. The video itself was a really great satire of reviews, which helped it stand out amongst the pack. There were absolutely some parts that made me laugh, and I liked the narrative you constructed around the game's creation. It was very topical given the release of Snow White and the discourse around it, which was also pretty different from the other entries. This was actually the first entry we watched for the contest, and it kind of honestly worried me that you were setting too high of a bar for the other entries. Luckily, that bar was met because we got a lot of exceptional videos this year, but even after watching a bunch of them, this still ranks high enough to get into my top 5. There was certainly no shortage of creativity to be found here.
And now the contestant who created his own RPG Maker title to review, featuring custom dialogue and even a battle. He utilized AI for the intro and credit songs, and even for the developer commentary later on, which was voiced by what appeared to be an LLM of Plankton? I'm not sure. Definitely one of the more original of our top 5 contestants. Great job.
Shy Guy, I've watched you grow your art for well over a decade now, and I'm happy you're still here providing your unique sense of humor to an increasingly apathetic world. Thank you for putting a smile on my face. I was very happy to give you my own 5th place slot. You've really evolved from when you first participated in my old, now forgotten contests of the olden days. Would have preferred to see you in the next video, which is what I'm about to announce, as there are 5 contestants remaining. Mr. Music, Yo Sniper, Phoenix, Little Frank 103, and Hodgepodge? At least I hope that's how you pronounce it. Anyhow, one of you 5 is our winner, which will be revealed in the next video. Yeah, I know, kind of womp womp right there, but you know how it is, dear viewer. The top 5 have always gotten their own video, and I don't feel like messing with tradition just yet. Till next time, my DVs.
The hell.